And here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Online in association with Round for Round Boxing, the new boxing game coming out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. And we've recently signed the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Andy Ruiz. Congratulations, Andy, in your stunning victory over the former champion, Anthony Joshua. Right, so now we are going to be having a very frank and open discussion with a man who knows quite a bit about boxing. 50 years in the sport of boxing this year. I welcome to the room the Honourable Uncle James Ali Bashir. Uncle, how are we doing?
We're doing great. I'm in a good place. Thank God for that.
Okay. So before this show, I want you to give people a little bit of an overview as to who you are, who you've trained over the years before we get into this debate tonight.
I've worked with a few fighters in my time, most notably Maurice Harris. I have to salute him and give great respect to him because he was my introduction to the landscape of the heavyweight landscape of boxing. I got to give big respect to Maurice because it was he and I that carved a trail in the heavyweight division. And at one time, I thought he was on his way to becoming the heavyweight champion, but that didn't happen. But for the most part, I give a lot of credit and respect to him because of the roads that we traveled, our years that we spent with the Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Ray Mercer, Al Cole, the who's who of the heavyweight division. Maurice Harris was there, and he was my calling card. But I trained up Maurice Harris, Jamil McCline, Shannon Briggs, Monty Barrett. I've worked in the camps of Donald Curry, Vladimir Klitschko, Lennox Lewis. So I've got a pretty good reputation in the sport of boxing, especially as far as where in the land of the dinosaurs, the giants.
Of course, you trained Alexander Usyk to become WBO cruiserweight champion of the world.
Oh yes, most certainly. I trained Usyk. Usyk was a great guy to work for and with. He has an astonishing talent of an astonishing boxing IQ. And he's going to create problems. As I told you from the very beginning, that he was going to create problems in the heavyweight division long before he became a heavyweight. I told you that he was going to create problems in the division. I see Alexander Usyk and Michael Hunter in the forefront of the heavyweight division in the coming months, not years. In the coming months, I see Michael Hunter and Alexander Usyk in the forefront of the division. They're going to cause problems. I know why, and I won't divulge the reasons why or how, because I don't want to mess it up with those guys. I don't want to make their job harder. But like I said, Alexander Usyk and Michael Hunter are extreme talents in the heavyweight division.
Okay, tonight, this floor more than ever is open for you to challenge what we say. We always like you to talk and share your opinion, but tonight in particular, we want you to challenge what we have to say and share your opinion. Please share this link. We want as many people in the room as possible to listen to this show and to share their opinions in boxing, because we have, in my opinion, the best trainer in the world for heavyweight boxers in the room tonight. And that's what we're talking about, heavyweight boxing. It's part 2 of Ali Bashir reviews the heavyweight division and the techniques that come to becoming the best heavyweight on the planet. Right, let's take us back to the preview of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz and your thoughts on the fight back then.
Like I said in the very beginning, I expected Anthony to use his height, to use his reach, to use his boxing ability and that does not mean playing hopscotch and bouncing around the ring and stuff, because you're utilizing valuable energy. It takes energy to run any factory, especially in the land of the dinosaurs. You don't want to burn up a lot of senseless energy, you know. There are many who might say that Muhammad Ali burned a lot of energy, but he had it like that. He had the mentality that allowed him to do that. But for others to try, it could be very costly, you know, and tiring them, making them fatigue of body and mind. And we all know, as the great Green Bay Packers coach Vince Lombardi says, that fatigue makes cowards of us all. I think that Anthony used a lot of excessive movement the other night when he didn't have to, you know. Okay. That was part of the plan in the Ruiz corner to cause him to use a lot of energy trying to move away from Ruiz, when he could have stood ground and worked a good stiff jab followed by a right hand to keep Ruiz in check.
Okay, we're talking about the fight. We want to go back to the preview, and then we can get into the tactics of the fight itself. We want to talk about the preview, and it's very important we talk about the preview of this, because I share no, I have no bones about talking about what went wrong.
All right, listen, all right, you got me. Why you got to talk about the preview? You know,
well, we have to talk the preview. We have to talk the preview.
You know what I said in the preview? I said Joshua would walk to him and stop him inside of 5 rounds.
And I said to you,
no more than 7 rounds. I said the fight would go no more than 7 rounds, and it went no more than 7 rounds. So
you were right somewhere.
I was right somewhere. You know, I said that he would mow him down in 5, no more than 7 rounds. It didn't go no more than 7 rounds. So give me some credit for picking around.
Yeah, I'll give you credit for that. But I couldn't believe that you actually went into fanboy mode when you said that Anthony Joshua was going to stop Ruiz in 5 rounds. Anthony Joshua stops nobody of any real durability or class 5 rounds. Who's he blown away?
Well, there was some mitigating factors that made me think that way, because after Deontay Wilder left a calling card a couple of weeks ago by stopping Dominique Brazil, and he stopped him in such a fashion that I would think that Joshua would try to trump.
Yes,
what he did. By coming out, standing up, and doing something to Ruiz.
But he may have done that in the UK. I warned people before he left the UK to come to America that the horizontal heavyweight is very much still over the UK. The horizontal heavyweight. Not many fighters leave the UK and come to America and make a debut. You look at Nassim Hamid when he came to America, made his American debut. He was on the canvas, and he's not even a heavyweight. But his punching power got himself out of trouble. But generally, the heavyweights, Frank Bruno, going to America, getting beaten up by Mike Tyson. That's been the image. Then when Lennox Lewis came along, he changed the heavyweight landscape. He changed the landscape. He was a heavyweight that was able to beat the best in the UK and beat them consistently and travel from the UK to America and fight. But Lennox was mentally very strong. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, he was expected to come from UK to America and then sell himself in America, and then still have to fight as well. To me, I thought it was too much for him. And I said, a ring is a ring. People say that, but I disagree. A ring is a ring if you're used to fighting in the same place all the time. When you're going to fight in Madison Square Garden and all these people are coming to see you and all these sponsors on you and you have to perform, and it's a different kind of pressure than the pressure of the creature comforts of being at home. You just roll up just round the corner to your fight. Your gym's in the UK, or you've got everything, the creature comforts where you are in the UK. In America, people don't care for you the same way they care for you in the UK. In America, boxing is not the only sport. There are other sports. And so when you leave UK to come to America, the fans can't fight for you. You have to fight. And the 80,000 crowds won't fight for you. And you're not going to get that when you come to America because you've got other factors in there as well. You know what I mean?
That's why when I'm training any boxer, when I'm training them, I like to move around with them. South Africa, Germany, Ukraine, Russia, America, so that they never get comfortable by fighting in front of one audience. Sometimes you have to go to where the crowd is against you to fortify your position as a boxer. You have got to learn to deal with hostility from the crowd. The people say, well, there's only the referee and the two boxers in the ring. But sometimes atmospheres can either make or break good fighters. I've seen it happen. I've seen good fighters fall to pieces in the locker room when they were in front of a hostile crowd. So it's best to try to condition them to that factor long before they reach the heights of stardom.
Yeah.
You bring them up. You rear them in that atmosphere so that they'll be conditioned for that.
See?
But
a lot of garbage spoken about Anthony Joshua being a global superstar. How can you be a global superstar and you ain't even left your own country to fight?
Right.
That's not global. And, well, anyway, so...
Well, there was some talk on the internet that Anthony Joshua's father, I believe it was, if I observed it right, said that Anthony Joshua had a panic attack before going out in front of the crowd in Madison Square Garden.
Well,
and I would have to say, yeah, he was right, because I looked at Anthony when he came in the ring with the chewing on the mouthpiece and with the guy rubbing his head and rubbing his shoulders, and I looked into his eyes and I didn't see the confidence.
No, but before you even got, but that confidence wasn't there at the press conference when he started handing the belts over to Andy Ruiz. He literally was handing the belts over to Ruiz. Which heavyweight champion? Could you imagine Mike Tyson handing the belts over to Michael Spinks?
No, I can't imagine Mike doing that with anybody.
Can you imagine?
That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign.
Can you imagine Muhammad Ali doing that?
No. I guess that's not. It's a red flag. As you said before, it's a red flag. It's not a good sign. It's a sign of deterioration. It's a sign of the emperor falling apart.
Now, Dillian White has come out and said this is what you get when you come off of PEDs. When you're not cycling. Basically, he's saying that Anthony Joshua was unable to use the performance-enhancing drugs to help his performance, and that was why Joshua looked so bad in the ring. I don't know about that, but your thoughts?
No, I don't know nothing about that either, so I'll stay away from that, responding to that, because I just don't know about that. I felt that, Matchroom had been avoiding Dillian White for quite some time, because Dillian White did everything that was asked of him. He did everything that was asked of him, and he should have been qualified for the position of boxing Joshua some time ago. I understand that money is the motivating factor in practically every phase of business and of life. But I think that today's boxing is missing the valuable points by pursuing the ultimate figures to go inside the ring. Instead of saying, you know what, I'll take the money that they give me, I'll beat this guy, and then I can demand
what I want afterwards, of course.
Yeah, what happened to that? What happened to that? So I think that's where Dillian might have missed the boat. He should have stepped up, taken the money that Matchroom was offering him. I don't suspect. I don't think it's just money.
When you, from what I've heard, and from other fighters, locking contracts and intellectual property is a problem. If you beat Anthony Joshua, in the contract, it might say something like, okay, we'll pay you $5 million, but if you beat Anthony Joshua, you belong to Matchroom for the next 10 fights. Would you sign that contract?
Yeah, that comes with the territory.
That's nothing new. And that's a slave contract in itself. Why would you sign a slave contract?
That works over in Britain.
Well, Dillian White's a British fighter.
In the United States, they have the Muhammad Ali Act that prevents that.
But the Muhammad Ali Act's not in the UK, and that's the problem.
Right.
So,
No, I wouldn't sign for somebody. You can't sign somebody, saying that if you beat him, you sign with me for 10 fights. No, that's not right.
Yeah, it's even worse. I've heard fighters that sign contracts, and the first fight they get is 150,000. The second fight they get 100,000. The third fight they get 75,000. The fourth fight they get 50,000, and the sixth fight they get 25,000. You tell me how that works out.
It's going backwards.
Exactly. And the biggest fight of your career, you could be only earning 10,000. How does that work out?
That doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. But these fighters take it because they haven't seen money before. They haven't seen that kind of money before. So they take them kind of contracts. And then you see
that's foolish. That's foolishness.
It's not only foolishness, but if a guy, it's like these recording contracts. People give you, okay, I'll put $1 million in your bank account. They sign the 1 million, and they sign the contract, but they don't read the small print. You remember the Hearns are accountants by trade. That's what they are. So I don't. And you listen to what Deontay Wilder was saying beforehand as well, and why he wouldn't do business with them. So you've got to ask yourself the question. It's not just. I mean, people on Twitter and on Facebook who don't understand the sport will say, "Oh, he docked him. He didn't pay. He docked him because of the money situation." No, or he didn't want the fight. What was that contract? Until we see what that contract said in it, and if it had any of that sort of slave master sort of garbage in it, where a fighter was going to earn less afterwards, or he was going to be enslaved. That means he couldn't fight for 3 or 4 years, and he had to stuck to that same that management team, and they would have to pick the fights afterwards. Intellectual property. Even when you finish your boxing career and you're broke, their children's children are able to make money on your boxing career by every time they show your fight. They're making money on it. They never fought. It's not their face, but they're making on it money because you signed a contract. That's why Mayweather did what he did with HBO, took all his fights and went to Showtime. So they can't show his fights without his permission. So, sometimes when I hear fighters not taking contracts, remember the original reason what a contract was the English language, contract. So there was something dodgy in it, tract, bringing together. So bringing together something's a bit not too right, an agreement of some sort. And so I don't trust these contracts as far as I could throw them. So I wouldn't be surprised if in that contract with Dillian White and Anthony Joshua, why Dillian White refused it was probably the same reason why Luz Ortiz refused it. $7 million.
Well, the good thing about the whole thing is that it gives others an opportunity. It gives others an infusion of desire and will and tenacity. That's what the good thing that came out of this. I don't know if Anthony will ever be able to bounce back because the Wolves are outside his door.
He's done. Uncle.
They're outside.
I'm telling you, that man is done. He's done. He's done because he's going to have to come back. And when he comes back, right, he's going to get hit on the chin again. And the aura of invincibility is gone, right?
Well, he isn't. But Anthony Joshua is not the first individual in the sport. He's not the first individual in the upper echelon of the heavyweight division who was fragile when it came to that kind of thing, getting hit on the chin.
Or but
getting hit on the chin. There are a lot of heavyweights in the past who just, I mean, God giveth and God taketh away.
Yeah,
you know, some people can endure what other people can't endure.
The only way Joshua has a way back in the heavyweight division is if he has an excellent trainer stroke mentor. And he listens to that trainer and a mentor, and he gets rid of those people around him. But according to him, three things. He admitted after the fight that he's got a great team. Well, okay. That's the first thing. He then said that he was he's looking to get revenge and beat up on Ruiz. Does he not realize that Ruiz is a better fighter than given credit for? And the third thing is his promoter talking about we deserve a rematch and we should be beating the likes of Andy Ruiz. Why do you deserve to beat the likes of Andy Ruiz? Andy Ruiz is an experienced fighter as an amateur and a pro.
Yeah, and he has a good stature as a boxer. He has a good stature. He's determined. He has great balance, and he throws lethal combinations, not punches, combinations. He puts punches together pretty well. So if Anthony feels that he has a great team, all right, if he feels that he has a great team, because I think that the people in boxing now is looking at the team. What were they doing in preparation? If you look like that in 7 rounds, you were looking like that. I mean, very, very bad. You know, very, very poorly.
Now,
he was looking like that. So the people were wondering, what were you doing in the training camp?
He got knocked out twice in sparring, so I understand it's coming out now. The European champion knocked him out in sparring, Ajit, and someone else knocked him out in sparring. Now, if a fighter keeps getting constantly knocked out in sparring, Uncle, can you talk to me about that, please? And the effects of that?
The effects of that means that, you know, it's not good in the confidence department. All right? Not just the physical, the headaches, you understand, but the confidence part. I remember Evander Holyfield saying prior to the Mike Tyson fight number 1, he said that his sparring partners were beating up on him. And he said he remembered going back to the privacy of his own mind in his room or wherever he was. And he's saying, damn, if these guys are beating up on me like that there and I'm getting ready to fight Mike Tyson, where am I going to land in that fight? So it was tampering with his confidence a bit. And it would tamper with anybody's confidence. If the sparring partners are beating you up and you're thinking about the adversary that you have to face, it's going to tamper with your confidence a bit. And it all makes sense, you know, the way Anthony looked when he came inside the ring, you know? So if he said he got a great team, he's got a great team.
Michael Hunter, who we had on just recently, and I know you've worked with Michael Hunter before, said that he put the blame squarely on the trainer.
Yeah, Michael Hunter is telling the truth.
Why?
You know, I've been around Michael Hunter a lot. You know, we've worked sparingly together inside the Vladimir Klitschko's training camp. And I know Michael Hunter. I know the mentality. I know the boxing style. You know, I know him. And he knows boxing. His dad knew boxing. He knows boxing. And he's a chip off the old block. Michael Hunter is just a duplicate of his father, you know, the bounty hunter. He could fight. Michael Hunter, in many ways, reminds me of a young Maurice Harris. You know, Michael Hunter reminds me, in many ways, of a young Maurice Harris. Harris and Hunter were different in their styles overall, but they you know, there's a lot of things that they do that are alike. Their mentalities are alike. Their boxing styles are alike. Their approach to the sport is alike. And if Michael says something, then it goes, as far as I'm concerned. You know, there are a lot of people out there in boxing land that's dismissing Michael. They're dismissing him. Too little. He's not this. He's not that. He's not this.
He's a heavyweight champion in weighting. I've said it already.
Yes, think that if Michael Hunter was in that ring with Anthony Joshua, I think the fight would have been over sooner than that. You know, he showed it in his last 3-4 outings. I think the fight would have been over sooner than that. That's why at the last minute they chose somebody else. They chose somebody they thought they could be in Ruiz, and that didn't happen.
I want to give an example of why Joshua is in the position he's in today. Got a guy here, I'm going to call him out. His name's Stephen Wilson. He goes, this guy, meaning me, is an AJ hater. This is what I call an AJ apologist. Talking bollocks, Klitschko got beat early in his career. AJ's still learning and will come back stronger. Now, I want to make a few points here. First of all, I've been making these points about AJ almost 2 years ago about his defensive irresponsibility, talking about when he opens up, he leaves himself open, that he's open to the counter left hook. And if he's going to get knocked out in this fight, it would be because he's engaging with Andy Ruiz when he should be engaging with Andy Ruiz. Go back and look at the tape. Hating is when you just talk about something, you'll talk about something without any facts and you're hoping. I didn't hope. I knew this was going to happen because AJ is defensively vulnerable. The fact of the matter is, and an AJ apologist doesn't look at the facts. The fact of the matter is, this guy was getting constantly knocked out in sparring. This guy was like another David Price. And they built him up. And what he basically had was a platform that protected him and a platform that put his profile up higher and higher and higher and higher. But the problems were there. He had problems when he fought Klitschko. He got dropped by Klitschko. He struggled against Takam. And to be honest, why Takam got stopped in that fight, I've got no idea whatsoever. But we know that Joshua has not got a good chin. And you can't avoid that. You can't avoid that. And you see Klitschko, he talks about Klitschko, but Klitschko then came round, he managed to, and he still got knocked out. He went and got knocked out afterwards by Lamont Brewster. And in fact, the way Joshua went down, the way he went down in that fight was similar to the way that Klitschko went down when he fought Lamont Brewster. The similar sort of, when he went back to the corner, he was talking to Robert McCracken, and he said to Robert McCracken, why do I feel like this? It's almost he was saying like he'd been drugged or something. And he said, why do I feel like this? And McCracken was giving him instruction. And at one point, the McCracken stopped and said, what do you mean? Why are you feeling like this? McCracken was just giving him instructions. Didn't listen to Joshua whatsoever. So there was something wrong there outside of the fact that Joshua's vulnerability and inability to judge distance and box a terrible game plan against a guy who's noted for exploding when you're throwing punches. If he didn't watch, it's like he didn't watch a Joseph Parker fight. Because I said Joseph Parker is more agile than Anthony Joshua. He's more agile, and he still got nailed, Joseph Parker.
Right. I guess, Eddie Ruiz is doing what he has to do for his physical stature. If I don't come forward, nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
So I would think in preparation for that those taller fighters would be prepared for the guy that's coming forward and develop an arsenal to deal with that forward climb and then make that forward climb turn into a reverse climb. There are tactics that you can do.
Yeah.
That you can perform. There's plenty of tactics that you can perform that will prepare yourself for that forward march.
The double jab right hand, tying the man up, leaning on him, using the uppercut.
I don't want to get into tactics.
Of course. You're not here to train people, I know. Of course, I get that. We're not going to talk about that.
The game is to be sold, not told. But there are tactics that a tall guy can use to stop that forward climb, to discourage him from coming forward. You understand? You just have to be willing to sit down and do what you have to do. And Anthony didn't seem to want to do that the other night. And when he did do it, it seemed like he was leaning his head, putting his head down into the zone where he could be in. He kept when he tried to launch any kind of an attack, it seemed to me like he was dropping his head into the zone where he could be hit with clean, hard shots. That's what it seemed like to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it seemed like to me. That he was asking.
If they force him into this rematch, which I hope they don't, he's done, because I don't see how he's going to improve between now.
It's going to be a rematch. It's going to be a rematch.
An automatic rematch, though, Uncle?
Huh?
An automatic rematch? That's not good for him. What's he going to...
Wait. Do you think that Eddie Hearn is not going to take that rematch?
Well, the belts are with PBC now.
Of course he is. Of course he's going to take the rematch.
The belts are with PBC now. They're not with Eddie Hearn. They're with PBC. Means Al Heyman. Yeah, and it wasn't just too long. It wasn't long ago that Eddie Hearn was on IFL and he was saying, "You want to finish me? Come and finish me. Finish me. End it. End the matchroom era. End us. Knock us out." Well, they got what they asked for. Joshua's been knocked out now, and he was the flagship for DAZN and the flagship for Matchroom. He's been knocked out. He was their big pay-per-view star. He's been knocked out now.
Yeah, well, he's going to go to PBC on his hands and knees and try to make the fight and make it, go pay enough money for Andy Ruiz, to come into Great Britain.
Why? When you can make an undisputed title fight, you can make Wilder the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Why would you do that? Ruiz, Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. The world want an undisputed champion, right? That's what they wanted. And Joshua wasn't good enough to do that. So you've got Andy Ruiz, the guy that beat Joshua, versus Wilder for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. At least we get that cleared up, and anyone else can come afterwards. Then we could get Wilder versus Joshua if Wilder beats Ruiz, or Ruiz versus Joshua the rematch.
I think that since both belts are with PBC, I think that they should move to solidify the title now, and then
Amen.
Let Joshua fight the winner of that fight between Ruiz and Deontay.
That's what I think.
That would make sense to me, because then we'd have the titles unified. I kept telling you, I said the best thing about Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua was that they were both undefeated. I said over and over again, I hope that they can put these two guys together before one of them are beaten.
Listen, do you really, after you saw what Brazil, who doesn't move his head and he's got flat-footed, after you saw what Wilder did to him, could you imagine Wilder landing a right hand? Imagine Wilder being in that ring that night instead of Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a pretty picture.
No, it wouldn't.
And perhaps AJ or AJ's brain trust knew that.
Yeah, of course they damn well knew that. Well, I said this before, that they had confidence issues. Look, this guy's been stretched by David Price, Fraser Clark, the cruiserweight Lawrence Okoli. Who else? Now this guy Adjit's knocked him out in sparring. Joe Joyce knocked him out in sparring. But Dubois knocked him out in sparring. How many more people have knocked out AJ in sparring? So if you're getting knocked out by all these guys in sparring, what does that tell you? Apart from your trainer doesn't care for you very much.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. Why is he getting knocked out? Uncle, can you explain to me why this guy's getting knocked out all the time in sparring?
Well, one of the things is that nobody is teaching him defense.
Exactly.
Nobody is teaching him nothing about defense. Because if you're fragile, and some of us are, everybody don't have the greatest chin. Some of us are fragile. This is the way God made us. There's nothing that we can do about it other than find an intellect, find an intelligence to avoid taking punishment. There have been lots of boxers in history who didn't have the greatest durability to take those punches. And so they learn how to bob, weave, use defensive tactics.
But Uncle, you're forgetting. There are not many good boxing trainers out there in the world today. Back then, there were loads of trainers around that had the knowledge to teach that stuff. There's not around anymore.
No, they're not.
So okay. So name me who he's going to go to for defense.
Everybody, let me say this here. Everybody wants to be a teacher. Everybody wants to be noted as being a hot shot trainer. Everybody wants to be an insider, if you will. But as my mother would say, the proof is in the tasting of the pudding, son. You look back and say, well, what have these people done? They might be able to put a feather in their cap over one success, maybe even two success. But where is the longevity in their successes? Where's the trail that says that this guy or this girl is a good trainer, is a good teacher?
Look, I mean, you say that. I've heard names being thrown around already this evening. And it's from people who don't know nothing about boxing or very limited. So the names get thrown out. Adam Booth. Why would Adam Booth be the guy to teach Anthony Joshua? Booth teaches a guy a skill set of in and out. But his guy the other night got beat by Ray Robinson and he couldn't offer him any help. That style with you look like a mummy. What's his name? Josh Kelly against Ray Robinson.
The guy that fought for Ray Robinson.
Yeah, Josh Kelly.
Adam Booth trains him?
Adam Booth trains Josh Kelly.
Well, Josh Kelly, I don't know if it reflects on Adam Booth, but Josh Kelly got his ass whooped the other night.
Of course he did.
And they gave him a draw.
Exactly. But that's not the first time with Adam Booth. Remember when David Haye, well, you were there. David Haye against Vladimir Klitschko. And the game plan, I remember Emmanuel Stewart talking about the way to beat David Haye is just a straight jab because Haye's legs are so far apart. Trying to load up with big shots, just put the jab on him. And it shut Haye down all night long. And the game plan was just to rush in and throw an overhand right. What sort of a game plan is that?
Yeah, it's true.
Then what? Freddie Roach? Freddie Roach knows how to teach you how to attack, but Freddie Roach should never teach somebody how to block punches. Never. Not only with your face.
It's true. It's true. Nobody can knock what you're saying.
What you need is a trainer who can teach. First of all, a trainer who's experienced at heavyweight. Let me see their heavyweight resume. Let me see your heavyweight resume. Who have you trained at heavyweight? What is your standing as a heavyweight trainer? I don't mean you come in and be a celebrity trainer and train a guy for 3 weeks or a month, and then you fall out with them, and then you go with another fighter. I want you to tell me the fighters you've worked with from this point to this point, and the improvements that have been made during that time. Let me listen to what you've been saying in the corner, not what the commentators are talking about you, not what the media are talking about, not the promoter's best mate. All's going to help his stable. The guy that when you listen to him in the corner, you can hear boxing knowledge, boxing science. When things not working right in the corner, they're not saying go for a walk or just throw some more punches. Or they can read a fight. They can tell you, look, you need to throw more punches. You're losing this fight. Okay, this isn't working. Let's change the style. Let's change things up. Let's hear some adaptability in the corner. We're not having cheerleading in the corner. And the majority of these trainers are cheerleaders, and they've only got one style of training. But it just seems that the people that their names keep coming out all the time.
Me being a trainer for the last 50 years, I can't say those kind of things that you're saying. Because if I say those kind of things, then I'm a hater. If I say those kind of things, then I'm jealous. You understand? So it's applicable for you to say it as opposed to me saying it. But truth being told, I don't see a lot of teaching in the corners now. I'm always looking to learn. So I listen too closely to my counterparts when they're out there working in the corners and stuff, and I'm listening for sage advice, sage direction, and I don't never get that. Very rarely do I get it. You know, where something is sound in the corner. As you said, there's a lot of cheerleading, but no solid teaching. That's what I'm looking for.
I've been asked, shout out to Taz for his super chat donation. Taz asked the question, can you ask if Vlad got dropped if Vlad got knocked out in sparring as regularly as Anthony Joshua?
Vlad?
Yes, Vlad. Yeah. Did he get knocked out in sparring the way Joshua's been knocked out in sparring?
I was with Vladimir Klitschko for almost 13 years, I believe it was. Maybe 14 years. I was with him, and I'm hard pressed to see him even wobbled or hurt. And he was in with some good sparring partners. He was in with the who's who of the heavyweight division. You know, he always invited the best sparring partners that money could buy to those training camps. So I'm hard pressed to think about a time. As I speak, I'm going through my mind trying to recollect seeing him really hurt or wobbled, you know, where he had to hold on. And I saw him in with some really good sparring partners. So I'm hard pressed to see him even wobbled in sparring.
Right. I want you all tonight, those who are in the room, get your questions out to the best trainer in the world. James Ali Bashir. Get your questions out to him. The best heavyweight trainer. Get your questions out. Ask him his opinion while we keep talking. And we answer your comments now. I'm going to go through the comment sections. Quite a few comments I'm going to go through now from the top. Marky BS says, let's go. Ruben Gray says, big up. The Bro Fraser Network says the venerable one is James Ali Bashir, official title, best trainer in the world. Well, best trainer on the planet. Well, I changed the title to the Honorable Uncle James Ali Bashir. But venerable, you like the word venerable, Uncle?
You know, I appreciate it all. I appreciate the fans. I appreciate the pundits. I appreciate the people that's in boxing for the accolades that they've given me and that they still give me, and even those who criticize me. You understand? But I've worked to get where I'm at. I've worked to be renowned as perhaps the best, as you said, trainer in the world. Or if not, I'm certainly one of them, you know? I worked and I tried to be humble with my approach, and I always try to learn. I always keep my ears to the ground trying to learn. So I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really proud of that.
Just a question. Has Anthony Joshua come to your gym and offered you Lucozade?
Pardon me?
Has Anthony Joshua come to your gym and offered you Lucozade?
Has Anthony Joshua come to my gym and do what?
Offered you Lucozade. Well, like Lucozade is like a drink. We've got like an energy drink. He's sponsored by Lucozade at the moment. So there's a commercial of him visiting people and delivering them bottles of Lucozade. So I just wondered if he'd done that.
Well, if Anthony Joshua was out there listening, he needs to come to my gym and offer something. He needs help. He needs help. He needs help, you know. But in order for a person to get help,
they have to admit it.
They have to humble themselves. They have to humble themselves and say, you know what, I'm in need of help. The same way that Lennox Lewis and Vladimir Klitschko did, you know. I mean, over the years, I shared a lot of things with those two guys. I shared a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of conversations happened between us, and still to this day.
To this day. Sorry.
To this day, I speak to Lennox and Vladimir quite frequently. I just spoke to Vladimir not more than 2 hours ago. You know, I spoke with him on the phone, you know? And those are humble guys. Lennox Lewis and Vladimir Klitschko are humble guys, and they're always lending an ear They always got their ears open for knowledge. They always listen. You know, the last time I saw Lennox was at the no, it was a workout in London for Vladimir Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua. And when I saw Lennox with his wife, Lennox introduced me to his wife. He said that this is my trainer and this is my wife. And I thought, how respectful is that for Lennox to introduce me to his wife as his trainer? That's how he introduced me to her, you know? And I had to take my hat off to him for that, you know, because over the years, he and I got close. Over the years, Vladimir Klitschko and I got close. Over the years, Vitaly Klitschko and I got close. Over the years, Shannon Briggs and I got close. Over the years, Jamil McCline and we got close, not because we were good people to each other, but because I was knowledgeable enough to give them direction. I was knowledgeable enough to give them application. And I don't see a lot of that now. When I'm looking for to learn about from the trainers in the corners, when I'm listening, I look for everything. And I won't tell you everything that I'm looking for, but I look for it in that corner to see if I can adapt something from the trainers that's out there. And I don't get a lot of it. I get a lot of cheerleading, you know, but I don't get a lot of knowledge in the corners.
Okay. I'm going to continue going through. Is this core CCR 2971 says, well done for the Ruiz coverage, Ingram. Joshua either knew he was a vulnerable fighter from sparring and was expected to come and stop sooner or later, or the Dillian White theory that this was Joshua Vampeds because of the strict testing.
Well, I don't know that Anthony was on PEDs. You know, I don't know. But coming to America, he couldn't do it. You know, could they have played a role? I don't know. You know, that's not my department to say yay or nay on that. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
You know? But I do know that when he came in that ring Saturday night, I looked at him and he did not look right. He did not look right.
He didn't. I said that.
His demeanor wasn't right.
I said it.
His demeanor wasn't right.
I said it in the pre-fight in the commentary. I said it.
You did. You reminded me of that. You did. You know, you reminded me of that. You did. Everything you told me came to pass. So now you can be a prophet.
Well, it's because you're teaching me, Uncle. You've been a great mentor to me. That's why I'm learning a little bit more about this sport. I've got a lot to learn still.
I have to give you credit. You warned me, and I want to give a shout out to my homeboy. He's in Las Vegas, Lamar Sherrod. Lamar told me. He told me. He said, "Listen, your boy is going to get knocked out." I said, "You hallucinate." But Lamar told me, all right, Lamar Sherrod, he's in Las Vegas. And I hope that he hears what I'm saying here. I'll take my hat off. He told me over and over and over and over again. And he tried to bait me into betting a dinner on this fight. And I said, no, I don't bet on fights no more. He said, well, let's just do dinner. He would have had a free dinner if I had went for that. He tried to con me. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. He told me, he said, because your boy is going to get knocked out tomorrow night. I said, in your dreams. And when you called me and woke me up and said that he had been knocked out, I said, oh God. The only first thing I thought was Lamar going to be on my case about what happened. So you told me, and Lamar told me. You both told me. I take my hat off to you. He was correct. He was right. You know? You was correct. You were right. That should not have happened.
It should have happened.
Had he had stable tutelage coming into the fight.
Had he had a decent jab, he would have helped. What was that, by the way? That was no jab. What was that? Like a pouring jab. What was it?
And he kept his left hand in his jock strap. His left hand was in his jock strap all day. You know?
Yeah, all the left side was exposed. He wasn't protecting his chin, nothing, everything there. At least you could do it with your chin hair.
All I kept thinking about was Deontay Wilder.
And that right hand.
Lord have mercy. He kept, every time he jabbed, he would drop the left
hand
right back down to the jaw. All I can think about is Deontay Wilder firing that right hand behind that jab that's dropping down.
But where's that come from? I don't know where that style's come from. It's terrible for him.
Well, it's something that he adopted, undoubtedly, in sparring and training, you know, something that needs to be corrected, something that needs to be stopped. One of the few things that I spoke about in our conversations over the last 3 years.
Yep.
That was just one of a few things that I see in his arsenal that needed correcting, that never has been corrected. And it leads me to believe that it comes from arrogance. Arrogance. In order to be a great athlete of any kind, you have to humble yourself first and say, you know what? I said this today on Twitter. The arrogance. Somebody said to me, if I boxed, would I have done anything? And I said to him, listen to me. I said, listen, there's a difference between being, because he said arrogance is whatever boxer's got. I said, no. I said, there's between confidence and arrogance. An arrogant fighter will ignore his trainer, ignore instructions, and get knocked out. A confident fighter will listen to his trainer and listen to his team and make adjustments on the fly. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance will get you knocked out. Yeah, I think that arrogance on the behalf maybe of Anthony and certainly of the people who are supposed to be training him or teaching him, if you will. Arrogance is on the behalf of one or maybe both of them. Because as I've told you again, over and over, I said there are flaws that need to be attended to now before he meets that style.
Yeah, but the arrogance comes from the top, the Hearns, and they don't know shit about boxing. Look at all their fighters now they're matching their fighters up with. Whoever their matchmaker now is, obviously don't like them. Because they either have dreadful mismatches or their fighters are getting beat. Katie Taylor got beat. Josh Kelly got beat. Callum Johnson was in with a guy he should never been in the ring with. And then you had Boatsy in with a guy who hadn't fought for about 2 years. Why?
Yeah. It boils down to arrogance.
Yeah, arrogance and a lack of knowledge, yeah. More questions for you, Uncle. Next question up. They probably don't think I'm going to ask you this question. The question is, ask Bashir. This is Marky B. I'm asking the question now, Marky. It says, ask Uncle Bashir if he would still come on BWTM if AJ decided to go with Bashir. Would he still be humble? Ask him, Ingram.
Would who be humble?
You, Uncle. Would you disappear if you got the AJ training you and not talk to BWTM?
Ask the question again. I want to understand just what you're saying. I think you understand, but I want to make sure that
okay. It says, Marky Beer says, again, ask Bashir if he would still come on BWTM, if he would still do these interviews, if AJ decided to go with Bashir, would he still be humble?
I would still be humble regardless of AJ or anybody else because of how I was raised. He's got to understand, I was raised in the 50s and 60s. It was a different world then. The mentality was different then. The application of life was different then. My mom raised me by herself. I never knew my father. I never had a relationship with my father. I wouldn't know my father if I walked past him twice in the same day on the same block. I was raised by a woman who taught me how to be humble. who taught me how to be respectful, who taught me how to be concerned to all people, regardless of what their stature is, was, or will be. And everything I do in my life, I always contact my mother. She's gone now, but she's always in the back of my mind saying, son, don't do this. Son, don't do that. Son, be like this. Son, be like that. So yeah, I'm a humble person. I'm a people person. I recognize my own self as being a people person. I'm humble and respectful to all people, even the wino on the street. You understand? So no, I won't change. Nothing won't change me.
I guess because some people have got big, have gone big, have gone really got exploded, and when they started on the channel, they won't get exposure, and after they got the exposure, they've kind of gone off and done their own thing. They've kind of left us behind, or they haven't left us behind, but they've gone and done their own thing, which is fine. We're proud to have had them on the channel, but people.
Well, you know me.
I know you. Of course, I know you.
You know me. You know the kind of person I am, and I'm always going to be that kind of person. Until they throw the dirt on me, I'll be that kind of person. So tell them, don't worry about that. I'll always be that kind of person. I'm the person that's always in touch with the little guy, because I've been the little guy so many times in my life, But it doesn't bother me because I am who I am. I am what I am. But I always want to make my mom proud of me. That's one of the ultimate goals in my life, to make my mother proud of the kind of man that she raised in me. So there it is for you. I'll always be that humble guy.
Then Taz asks the question: would Bashir team up with Vlad to train AJ?
Team up with who?
Vladimir Klitschko to train AJ.
I'd team up with Vladimir Klitschko to do anything. He's a good human being, and this guy has been beautiful to me, above and beyond the call of duty. Vladimir Klitschko is one of my favorite people in this life. He's a good guy, good human being, beyond the call of duty, above and beyond the call of duty. This guy is super. Vladimir Klitschko is a superhuman being. For those people in the listening audience that never met Vladimir Klitschko, you are missing something. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's always watched out for me. He's always took care of me. And I can't stop giving him accolades and respect for the things that he's done in the relationship that we have formed over these years.
Okay. Then KTMPL says the team couldn't navigate Joshua through the fight. So going back to what Joshua said, he's got a great team. The Bro Fraser Network says if he hires Bashir, he will do well. Lewis and Klitschko both were thought to be fragile. Look how they both turned out.
I think that I could offer Anthony Joshua some things that would help him on the way to his recovery. That may not seem like a lot now, but we're not the ones who got TKO'd in that ring the other night. When the referee was talking to Anthony Joshua, this is one of the things that stood out and shocked me the most. When the referee was talking to him, Anthony, in my opinion, had a ho-hum attitude. His response, the look that was in his eyes, his arms, the way they were hanging on the ropes, the way he looked, and the referee just waved it off calmly, and he just walked to the corners and sat down like it wasn't. Like he wasn't in touch with what was happening. This is for the heavyweight championship of the world. You understand? And he didn't seem alarmed. He didn't seem responsive. He didn't respond like I'm losing the heavyweight championship. Now,
there's talk about him being concussed before the fight. Would that have any effect on that?
Of course. Of course.
Well, how would that have an effect if you're concussed before a fight? That sounds dumb, but how?
If you're concussed, then you're not stable. You're not stable. And perhaps so, because he asked in the corner, what about this or what about that? He asked something.
Why am I feeling? He said he asked the question, "Why am I feeling like this?" And his trainer didn't. His trainer was just more interested in giving instructions than listening to the concerns of his fighter. That is a no-no. That's a red flag for me.
Well, he could have been concussed. You know, if he was concussed, then he should not have been. Then I have to agree with the father. He should not have been in there. You know, but I would think that something like that there would have been noticed at the weigh-in.
Now, when Anthony Joshua, no, when Andy Ruiz was giving his interview, in the background you can see Anthony Joshua, his dad, and Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's on the outside, his dad's inside the ring, and Joshua's probably got a towel over his neck, head over, and Joshua's dad is like pointing at Eddie Hearn, and Joshua's going, please, please, as if to say, leave it, don't have a go at Eddie. Like he was begging his dad, please, Dad, don't say anything else. Please don't mess things up. Please. He was pleading with his dad, please, Dad, don't. But he was going after Eddie for something.
Yeah, well, it's his father. You know, that's the father's love, you know. But if he was concussed, he had no business. I can understand the father saying, stop the fight, don't let the fight go on. But it's something that the doctor should have noticed. I made a bad error. I made a couple of bad errors coming up as a young trainer. You know, I had Andre Perlet.
Yeah, you told me about him. Yes, the super middleweight.
No, he was a cruiserweight.
Oh yeah, cruiserweight. That's it.
I think Andre ended his career. I think he was 40-3 with 36 knockouts.
Yep.
And I had him fighting a cruiserweight, Aaron. What's his Aaron's? He's cruiserweight from Cleveland, but he's living in Las Vegas. Aaron somebody. Aaron, I know this guy, but I had him boxing Aaron. And that morning at the weigh-in, the doctor pulled me aside and said, listen, you know, there's something going on with your fighter's left ear. All right? He said he's got a busted eardrum. He said the eardrum has made an attempt to heal itself, but there's something going on with that ear. And it could affect his equilibrium in the fight. And I knew Aaron from the Kronk Gym, you know? And Aaron was a beautiful boxer, and he can punch. He was real fast hands, quick hands. But I wrestled with the thought for a few minutes. I said, I think it was an 8-round fight. I said, we'll be okay. I just dismissed it. I wrestled with the thought for a couple of minutes, and I should have pulled the plug on that fight. Every time I think about the fight, I say I should have pulled the plug. You know, but of course, after the fact, you say, if I could have, would have, should have. But I should have pulled the plug. And I wish that I had. Because he knocked Andre out, I think, in the second or third round. He got hit with a counter right hand. And he just went, wobbly. He kept staggering around the ring, you know. And I thought back to what the doctor told me. He said equilibrium. He said that ear could cause problems with his equilibrium. And I dismissed it. I went in the fight, and the guy got knocked out. So I took the blame for that, you know.
Okay.
I took the blame for that amongst myself. You know, I said, damn, you know, I got the guy knocked out. You know, but I should have listened. So I would think that at the pre-fight weigh-in, the doctors would have noticed anything about concussion to themselves and made it clear to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua that he shouldn't be in the ring.
Okay, people are still talking. There's lots going on. I've got to catch up, and there seems to be some interesting news on Twitter as well. I think Ali Bashir will say Vladimir is better, but Vitali always seemed more dangerous, more ruthless. He was never down in his entire career. Vitali best of post-Lennox Lewis era. What are your thoughts on that, Uncle?
Different mentalities, you know. Vitaly Klitschko just didn't give it about nothing, and nobody, Vladimir was more mental, He was more mental. He was more technical about everything. Vitaly was the cowboy of the two. He just, saddled me up and I'm ready to go. That was his mentality. That comes with the birth package. There's nothing nobody can do about that.
Okay. Marky Beer says Joshua looked like a fish out of water. He continues by saying Joshua looked like he had anxiety in the corner before the first bell.
I gotta agree with him. I looked at him in that corner, chewing on the mouthpiece, arms on the rope, and the guy's rubbing his shoulder and playing with his head and all of that. And I said to myself, this doesn't look good.
He looked bad. Yeah, it didn't look right.
His demeanor just didn't look right. He didn't look confident. He didn't look like I'm the heavyweight champion, and in a few minutes you're gonna know I'm the heavyweight champion.
He didn't look like
he did not display that.
He looked like a guy that was dragged out of the audience and told to pretend you're heavyweight champion of the world.
He just didn't look good in that corner.
He didn't
look good. And when the referee was talking to him, just before he stopped the fight, he didn't look good there.
Okay. How would you want him to respond then, Uncle?
I would want him to look into the referee's eyes and say, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. Let's work. Let's work. I'm good. He didn't do that.
Do you know what I love as well? These people who have no clue about boxing. When Ruiz went down, he got back up. His feet were solid when he got back up. His legs were solid. He was good to go. If he was wobbly the way that people claimed he was on the verge of being knocked out, how can he throw in a combination so stable to have dropped Anthony Joshua?
No, Ruiz looked stable when he got up.
Exactly.
He looked very professional on the floor, and he looked very professional when he was getting up.
Exactly.
I looked at his eyes. I looked at
his
demeanor.
Clear.
He didn't panic. He sat down as though to say, okay, I've been knocked down. Now I have to deal with it. The professionalism kicked in while he was on the floor. No, he was all right.
Yeah, but people saying he was on the verge of being stopped. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
I never got the impression that he was about to be
Me
stopped.
neither. Because the minute I saw Joshua coming in and about to engage, I said, Joshua's. If people go back and listen to the commentary of the fight, the commentary starts about 3 hours and 25 minutes in. If you listen to my commentary, before Joshua gets rocked, I talked about the sequence of how the dangers of Joshua engaging with Ruiz. I said, Joshua's got to be really careful. He doesn't rush in and engage with Ruiz. And as I said that, boom, he got clipped with a left hook. So, and that was the beginning of the end. Call 2971 ask Bashir to rank the top current 5 heavyweights in the world. Thank you. I bet Usyk and Hunter are in that top 5. If I'm a betting man,
I'd say Deontay.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yep.
Dillian White.
Okay.
Alexander Usyk.
Yep.
Michael Hunter.
That's the top 5. Can't say anymore. Top 5. And I knew Usyk and Hunter were going to be that top 5.
Yeah, I think so because of their ability, their boxing skill.
Of course.
You can't. The name of the sport is. I can hear the critics out there in critical land right now saying, "Are you crazy?" But you got to understand the name of the sport is
boxing.
Not punching, not punching, not muscles, not strength. The name of the sport is boxing,
and not highlight reels either.
No, that's what I'm talking about. The name of the sport is boxing. To have boxing skills. There are a lot of good heavyweights out there. There are a lot of good heavyweights out there. But I would think those guys are the top 5 guys to keep an eye on.
Okay. BG London asks you a very interesting question. A lot of people are trying to avoid it and pussyfoot around it. Did Joshua quit, Mr. Bashir?
Did he quit?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I don't know what was going through his mind when the referee was talking to him. If he was concussive, if in fact he was concussive, you can't criticize him for it, But that's a good question. That's a valid question because when the referee was talking to him, and when he's against those ropes, it looked like the referee was clear in what he was saying. But looking in Joshua's eyes, it's like Joshua was back in London.
Well, there's a video of him getting knocked out as the left hook's landing. There's a picture of him taking his bags and getting on the plane and going back to London. It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible.
So the question that this gentleman just asked is a very valid question.
Yeah, it is a valid question.
But because when the referee was talking to him, AJ's eyes.
But having said that, if he's been concussed, he didn't check into the fight in the first place. He probably didn't remember walking into the ring or having the fight. He didn't probably know where he was. If he was concussed.
Listen, going back many, many years ago, maybe I don't know, maybe 1960 or 61.
Yeah.
62. I had an amateur fight. And I had boxed this guy that beat me. I had boxed the guy twice before that. And twice I had beaten him, So there was some arrogance and some playing around on my behalf. Long story short, the guy knocked me out. But I didn't realize. No, it might have been 60. It might have been 65. It was a little later on, about 1965, 66. The guy knocked me out. And we were boxing in the New York Golden Gloves. And I didn't realize I had been knocked out until I returned to New Jersey. We stopped. I didn't realize, because it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt physically. It didn't hurt me. But I had a concussion. I had a double concussion from that one punch. But I didn't have no recollection of what happened. I remember leaving the locker room. I remember getting in the ring. And I remember the fight starting. And after that day, everything was a blank. And then I got back to New Jersey. And I was in the front seat. My brother, it was my aunt and my uncle and my brother. And I remember my aunt putting on, my brother asked me, are you all right? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. I kept saying, yeah, I'm all right. Why you ask me that? And my aunt, I felt her right hand touch my right shoulder from the back seat. And when she put her hand on my shoulder, that let me know that something wasn't right. I had been knocked out and I didn't realize it. And then I went to the hospital 2 days later because blood kept coming on my pillow. Thick purple blood. It wasn't even red. It was purple blood.
Ooh.
I go to the hospital and the doctor says this guy's got a double concussion.
Now, you go on.
Yeah,
I was going to add to that.
So, and my brother was a wise guy. He kept saying, he said, man, they had to call the National Guard to get that white boy off me. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Yeah, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. He said, yeah, they had to call the National Guard to get that white boy off you, man. He was gonna whoop your ass, man. Good thing they called him, because they were, but to say that when you're concussed, you're out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
You're just out of touch with reality. You just don't know. So that leads me back to think that something was wrong with AJ. I'm not trying to make an excuse.
No, but check this out. Ben Davidson
was talking to me, act like he wasn't like okay.
Ben Davidson, the trainer of Tyson Fury, said he tweeted three symbols. The first symbol I think was, or he tweeted it was one short message. It looked symbolic. There was the brain, there was some eyes, and something else. So I don't know whether AJ fought against Ruiz and he'd been concussed and he didn't get a medical pass to fight. And his father was aware of that. And he couldn't pull out the fight. So they had to make the fight. The fight had to go ahead.
I don't know. I do know that he did not look
right.
No,
he didn't.
Before the first round, when they were doing the introductions, he didn't look right. He didn't look right, you know. And if that was the case, then everybody in that corner, from the promoter down to the trainers.
Having said this, it's not it wouldn't be the first time, because I understand from why I don't know how true this is, but there was a rumor that was flying around the night that he fought Matt Legg. He'd been knocked out a week before that in sparring, and I think that was a time when Price ironed him out, and he had to fight on a card. But they brought in Matt Legg, and they knew that Joshua could blow him away in a couple of minutes, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's not a good thing. That's not a good game to play with people's lives. I love boxing, but I love for the guys to walk away and return to their families and return to their normal lives after boxing. It's supposed to be a sport. Nobody's supposed to get injured like that. And if you know that there's an injury, you don't let the guy get in the ring.
Sorry, Uncle, just continue.
It doesn't mean that much to me. It doesn't mean that much. I want to see people go back to their family life and have a great life. They're not supposed to be injured, like that. So if you know something is going wrong, then you try to prevent it.
Okay. Ask Uncle Bashir how he thinks Vitaly Klitschko would fare against Joshua, Fury, and Wilder.
Him and Wilder would get into a big fight, but he whooped those other two guys' ass. Him and Wilder would have a shootout.
That would be a fight. That would be a fight. Wilder versus Vitaly Klitschko. Wow.
Because Wilder looked like he makes up stuff as the fight goes along. I don't think Wilder knows what he's going to do next. I really don't think Wilder knows what he's going to do next. He said, you know what, I'm going to try this here. That's the mentality. That's how I perceive his mentality. You know what, I'm going to try this here. He's not afraid to try things.
Exactly.
And he's got that style. He's got that awkward style, like Olive Oil, Popeye's girl. Just winging stuff from left field and right field, and if it catches you, you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Vitaly and Wilder would have had a great shootout, a short fight, great shootout. But I think that he whoops those other guys' ass.
Joshua and Fury.
Yeah.
Uncle, talk to me about your time when you were with Anthony Joshua in camp with Klitschko. Talk to me about your recollections of working with him back then.
He was a young pup then, and he was very studious, eager to learn. He did things that he was asked to do. He did things that he was asked to do. And he tried. I remember him trying. I thought that he was showing Latimer a bit more respect than what he was required to show. And then I asked him to pick it up, and he picked it up.
I remember, I'm not going to say the trainer's name, but he was in the UK, a UK trainer, and he said to me, see this Anthony Joshua here? And this is before Anthony, just as he was about to turn pro. See this Anthony Joshua here? They're going to make him Frank Bruno part 2. I'm telling you now, the moves they're going to make with this guy is going to be like Frank Bruno all over again. Wait and see. And that trainer, still training fighters today, his words have come true.
Right. He knew what he was talking about.
But well, he knew.
I said that some time ago. Remember, I said that to you.
Yeah, but you also said that Joshua could be the next George Foreman. I never saw that ever.
I thought that he could be the next George Foreman.
No chance. Never. I told you I never thought he'd be the next George Foreman. Never.
No, as far as punching power.
Nah. No, he don't. But he never displayed that to me, that kind of punching power. Wilder, maybe, but not Joshua.
When I saw him in the Klitschko's camp the first time, he was more of a relaxed puncher. He got too smart and started being tit for tat kind of puncher,
What's that mean?
The first time I saw him, he was real relaxed with his punches.
What do you mean by tit for tat? Explain that to me.
Like he was doing overnight with his jab.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. When I first saw him, he had more these relaxed power punches,
Somebody said, oh, it's because Joshua's been inactive. That's why he got beat.
No, it was something else going on there.
Yeah, I think so.
I disagree with that. There was something else going on there. I don't know what it was.
And another person has said, I've read it on Twitter, that it was a fixed fight.
That was a fixed fight. No, I don't think it was a fixed fight.
The fixed fight was a Katie Taylor fight. Was a fixed fight. That's what you call a fixed fight.
Yeah, that was a fixed.
That's a fixed fight when the person's won the undisputed belt before they step in the ring. That's a fixed fight. Fixed in the favor of the person that you want to win. That's a fixed fight.
Yeah, that's a rigged fight. That's terrible for boxing.
Of course
that
it is.
Doesn't do boxing.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting. And the Ray Robinson fight.
Of course it's disgusting. I'm gonna call Ray Robinson later and see if we can get a call. Speak to him as well, how he feels about it. The next question from Marky BS says, Ingram, tell Uncle Bashir. Many are requesting AJ to consider him after the previous show. And Marky BS saying, seen on Twitter also.
What does it say again, please?
Marky B says, big show, Ingram. Keep it going. Ingram, tell Bashir many are requesting AJ to consider him after the previous show. Please, Marky, if you can read out those Twitter's comments, or if you can show us where the Twitter comments are, I'm quite happy to jump on Twitter and read those comments myself to Uncle Bashir. Marky B says, AJ kept saying what he's going to come out and do. Hit him with what punch and how? Scary from AJ, says Marky B. And then somebody else says, thanks for asking, Ingram. And then we're talking about the knockdown. And then and Marky says, Ruiz never blinked. And he said, Ruiz got up and he showed Joshua the business. And then BG London says, can you pass the medical without the concussion before the fight? Is there symptoms?
There are symptoms that any doctor, any real doctor can pick up on the symptoms. Simply by looking into the eyes with the flashlight. How the doctors tells you, follow this flashlight with your eyes. There are ways for a trained professional, an MD, to determine whether the boxer is concussive or not. Maybe that's what I'm talking to him.
Let me ask you a question. If you, not Robert McCracken, if you were the trainer of Anthony Joshua on that night and you knew your fighter was concussed, what would you do?
He would have never went in the ring. I've always taken care of my fighters. Any boxer that I've ever trained will tell you I've always taken care of my fighters. I've never pushed my fighters to do something that shouldn't be done.
But even if you would have to look, you'd have to go into the face of Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and the Zone, because that's their big fighter.
or anybody that knows me in the sport, and there are many people who know me to be a man that always spoke up for the boxer. I've always spoken up for the boxer. I've never hesitated to speak up for it. And to this very day, I'll speak up for the boxer. You know, something wrong doesn't make that much of a difference to me. The money doesn't make a difference to me. Somebody just called me and suggested that I put, for, $150,000, $200,000. Somebody just suggested to me that I could put Justin Jones to box Tyson Fury. And I simply told him, no, Justin Jones is not ready to fight Tyson Fury or anybody else until he completes some of the things, some of the battery drills that I would have him to do to make sure that he's qualified to be in the ring. But I told him, no, I wouldn't put him in there. And here's a $200,000 fight that I could put him in. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy where I'm going to put a guy in a fight that he's not capable of being able to compete or complete. No. I told him no. It simply no. They got to go to the next house. Why would I do that?
Okay. Fair enough. LDBC Fact says AJ just got outboxed. He loves his trainer too. He is what he is. No excuses. Is it as brutal as that?
He didn't just get outboxed. There was something else going on. I believe. I don't know. I don't know. I just see so many things wrong with the style of AJ. I see so many of his attributes that he's not utilizing, and those ones that he is utilizing are incorrect.
BG London says, ask about Tyson Fury's opponent, Schwarzenegger. LOL, meaning Tom Schwartz. Do you know anything about Tom Schwartz? You are a heavyweight expert.
Yeah, Tom Schwartz might as well be Tom Thumb. I don't know who he is. What is that? Who is that? Tom Schwartz. Who is he?
He's unbeaten, and he's from Germany. And he's a WBO #1 contender. Well, according to Tyson, he's #1 contender.
Wow, he's the #1 contender for the WBO, and I don't know him. At heavyweight, I don't know him. No, it's neither here nor there for me. You know, I'll have to look up some of his fights. I haven't even been motivated to look up his fights thus far, but I'll do it now because I'm here on the show and I don't know I have a clue as to who Tom Schwartz is. He might as well be a fingernail designer as far as I'm concerned. You know, but I'm saying in the heavyweight division, that's all that Tyson Fury can fight. How about Tyson Fury fight somebody like Michael Hunter?
Jesus Christ, you don't want to see that. I don't think boxing has.
You understand? I mean, that would bring some suspense, some excitement to the fight itself.
I think Tyson wants to swerve Michael Hunter like a plague. That's why I say.
I'd like to see that fight. That's a fight that would bring some interest.
Ruben says Michael Hunter's too big. Tyson Fury's too big. I don't know where he gets that from. If he can catch Usmanov, he can catch Fury. I don't know where people's logic comes sometimes.
Well, they said that AJ was too big for
Ruiz. People don't understand boxing. They just look at size and they think, yeah, but they don't get it. They don't understand the science of the sport. Too many of these people are out there and being interviewed. The Zone was asking.
Ask those people, have they seen Michael Hunter box?
Ruben Guerrero says that Tyson is good at maintaining distance. If he was damn well good at maintaining distance, he wouldn't be letting a basketballer knock him down twice. A bum and a dosser knock him down twice in a fight. A guy maintaining distance is a guy like Floyd Mayweather. That's maintaining distance. That's maintaining distance. Tyson Fury is not maintaining distance, right? You don't get knocked down by Steve Cunningham.
There's so much that the fans here do not understand about.
They don't. They just don't have no clue.
Dynamics of boxing.
I tell you, Oscar Rivas is a dangerous fight for Dillian White. He does not need to fight. I didn't like the fight for Bright Jennings, and I don't like the fight for Dillian White. Oscar Rivas, two-fisted attack, punches. He's got punching power from round 1 to round 12, and he out staminaed. Well, I use the word out stamina because Bright Jennings is the guy who's known to have a great work rate and a good fitness and all the rest of it. And he went and he knocked Jennings out. He just came out, run around, said, you know what? Last round came out and just landed a few punches and knocked Jennings through the ropes and knocked him out. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. What are your thoughts on Oscar? What are your thoughts on Oscar Rivas?
He seems to be a pretty solid boxer, you know. I haven't seen much of him, but he seems to be a pretty solid boxer.
He beat Pulev in the amateurs. Cuban fighter.
Yeah, he seems to be a pretty solid boxer. I'll have to go to YouTube and check him out a little later to understand it better.
Somebody's saying, Marky Bier says, get your team to call James Ali Bashir to get your damn belts back. That's what. Have you got a message for AJ as we're about to ask any news on Usyk's bicep injury? Do you know anything about Usyk's bicep injury, Uncle? By the way,
no, I haven't spoken to Usyk or any of the promoters that's aligned with him, so I don't know anything about what's going on with Usyk in his condition.
Let's talk about Vlad Serev because it's very key when in certain fighters. He is known for his left hook, Vlad Serev. How would Vlad Serev have done with AJ on Saturday night, and how he compares to an Andy Ruiz in your mind or moving forward?
Well, I like Vlad Serev because he's a good boxer. He delivers timely punches. He plans his punches. He's not just a guy that's going to throw a lot of useless punches. Vlad Serev plans his punches. He plans his applications. That's what I like about him. And he always finishes with the left hook. He has a lethal left hook that can hurt any heavyweight. So I'm looking forward to Vlad Serev doing some big things in the near future. As I told you a few months back, that this is the guy. He's the guy. And I think that he's going to put me there, you know. He's going to put me on the map in the heavyweight division. You know, I like Vlad Serev. He's very studious. He's always looking to learn. He's always looking to grow. And he can punch. Make no mistakes about it. Very keen, very sharp. He's very aware of where he's at inside that ring and what his responsibilities are. So, yeah, I look for good things to happen with Vlad Serev. I think that if he was in the ring with Anthony Joshua the other night, he would have did a really good job. He would have did a really good job.
Why?
Whatever happened when he left that ring, I wouldn't have been disappointed in him.
So what's the level you see Serenko at the moment, in your opinion?
I think that Serenko is like a B-rated fighter. You know, he's at the B-rated right now. He's not in that A class yet, but he's right there knocking on the door, you know. I don't want to rush him. He's 11-0 with 10 knockouts. I don't want to rush him. I want to move him into contention in a moderate fashion and put him in with those fighters that will move him up the right way instead of flash in the pan, you know. You know, knock one guy out and then you're right there in the top 8. No, I don't want that. I want him to grow properly. So that when he does get there, he'll be ready.
I've just read something on Twitter there. It's come here from the boxing concern. It's got something that Peter Fury has been quoted saying. The facts are Joshua did not want to fight. He wanted to pull out because he was not right. Eddie Hearn would not let him pull out, and that's why there was a delay. At the end of the fight, Joshua's dad went for Eddie, and AJ held him back. What do you think of that?
So there's some things that goes on behind the scenes that the general public doesn't know about. You know, they don't know about. So they're finger pointing and demise yet to come inside the UK when they finally get back. They probably just landed now.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You know, it never stops, you know. But I will say this here, you can't just say that I got a great team. No, not the way you looked the other night. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is a strange sport because in every other business, you know, the NFL, the NBA, you know, the baseball leagues, and all of these people make corrections. If things don't go right, they say, listen, we got to remove. You got to get out of there. We got to put somebody in there at the wheel that knows how to steer this vehicle. Boxing is not like that there. You know? I mean, I was there with Usyk for 11 fights, and everything was going fine. And then next thing I know, I'm out. Nobody said, well, you're out because of this or you're out because of that, because they're not obligated to say so. You know? I'm just out. But I don't see where anything's any different, where he has grown in any different way since I've gone. So that's to say that people got to know what they're applying to themselves when they make these decisions, you know, to keep somebody or dismiss somebody. Business is business. It's business. It's not personal. That's why I never really got upset with Alexander Usyk. You don't want me there? I don't want to be there. And any other fighter for that fact. If a fighter does not want me there, the fighter and the trainer, if they don't gel, if they don't have a relationship, an unyielding relationship, then they should not be. If they don't have a productive relationship, then they should not be. But one has to produce for the other in order for the rhythm to be correct.
Here we go. This is posted. It says, Anthony Joshua's father has publicly stated that Joshua suffered a panic attack in the dressing room before the fight, delaying his ring walk. His father asked Eddie Hearn to call the fight off as Joshua didn't look well. Eddie Hearn responded by saying he will be fine when he gets in the ring. This is the reason Anthony Joshua's father confronted Hearn in the ring after the fight.
Well, I can understand Anthony Joshua's father, and I can understand Eddie Hearn. You can't stop it in the locker room because of a panic attack. You can't. It's impossible. You know? But I can understand Joshua's father's concern saying that to him, but you can't pull the plug in the locker room. You can't do that. The music's gotta play. The dance has gotta go on.
There's a picture of the Simpsons predicting the future yet again. It's a picture of Homer Simpson and a guy that looks a lot like Anthony Joshua putting his arm round Homer Simpson, smiling at him. And there's another picture of Anthony Joshua right beside him with Andy Ruiz. And there's a picture underneath that with Anthony Joshua and Drake. You see, every time this man Drake poses with anyone in pictures and they're fighters, all things seem to go wrong. It's like the Drake curse.
Yeah, they need to keep Drake as far away from the action as possible.
Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club says the UK are about to treat Anthony Joshua the way Russia treated Ivan Drago after he lost to Rocky. But I predicted this, I believe, after the Joseph Parker fight. I said, this is coming. And when it comes, when Joshua falls, he's going to fall mighty hard because he's been in a high place, an elevated place. And all the stories that they've been hiding about Joshua, they're going to come out now. All that stuff is going to come out now.
I would say, from where I'm at, and it doesn't matter whether I get the job or some other good teacher gets the job, but I would say that a change is in order if he wants to progress. All right, a change is in order if he wants to progress. You can't just tell a fighter to do something without laying the groundwork. Preparation is the key, you know. But having said that, Joshua would have to be willing to accept the change. He would have to go out and look for the change. He would have to go out and embrace change and be willing to listen and be willing to change, you know, for that new teaching. But like I said to you years back, I said that there are some things wrong with his application. There's some things wrong with his approach that needs to be corrected now before disaster strikes.
I just need to give I need to give a shout out to Chris Mason, who's joined us from the world of darts and boxing. Chris Mason works for ITV and I think Sky as well. So Chris, good. Thank you for being in the room. Chris just says, Eddie denied this already as fake news. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't take anything Eddie Hearn says. No disrespect to you, Chris, but I can't take anything that Eddie Hearn says with a grain of salt, to be honest. This is a man that told us of many things. I remember him once saying that, you know, that Carl Frampton couldn't get a world title shot without him. Well, that was a load of bull. I remember him telling us about purse bids and how much a purse bid was and how much it was before the purse bid was even announced. And I remember sitting down talking to Eddie, and he said, basically, I'm a second-hand car salesman with a bullshit and a smile. He said that in the first minute of my interview with him. And that was the first interview and the last interview I did with him, because that just showed me the kind of individual that Eddie is. And he's great doing what he does to promote. He'll lie for his teeth. But I do believe that if that was the case, then Eddie would rather sacrifice his fighter than sacrifice himself. And when you're a privileged individual and you don't have to work for anything or fight for anything, it's more likely than that would have been the case. Chris Mason says, LOL, for me, AJ doesn't have any ring IQ, doesn't take instructions from the corner, doesn't even know how to hold effectively. But these were problems that we both discussed, Chris, just after the Parker fight. Remember I said to you these things about AJ, and I said that when he falls, he's going to fall harder than David Beckham, and that the British public are going to turn on him, and they're already beginning to turn on him. And that was a year and a half ago. Since then, he got settled with the whole Wilder situation with the 50 million stuff. He just said he didn't want to go to America, yet he's ended up going to America and fighting in America. Who is actually running Anthony Joshua's career? Because Joshua said, I don't need to go to America. Let the Americans come to a weirder place to come to. But he ends up saying that, and then the next fight we see him in America fighting against either Jarrell Miller or what's his name now? Andy Ruiz. That didn't make no sense.
Well, you can't say that. When you say world champion, that means that you belong to the world.
Having said that,
the world is supporting you. When you sell pay-per-view, you sell pay-per-view in Switzerland, Austria, Sweden, France. So that means that these people are investing in your career as the world champion. So that means that you belong to the world. So when a promoter says that I got the money, you need to come to France. I got the money, you need to come to Germany. I got the money, you need to come to wherever to defend the title. You belong to the world. So you can't say, I don't need to come to America. I don't need to come to France. How about if America and France say, well, we'll stop buying your pay-per-view? How about that? You know, so you can't say that. Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali traveled extensively throughout the world, you know, wherever their services were required. I mean, Ali went to Zaire, you know.
Yep.
Ali went to Manila, you know, because he was the world champion. So that kind of mentality, you got to debunk that kind of mentality. And
well,
say, no,
it's interesting. It's interesting. I will say one thing here, that there's a correlation between Anthony Joshua's career and this thing about having a panic attack and Audley Harrison. Now, I heard a story that basically Audley Harrison went to the BBC And he came out, and when he came out to the BBC, he said he saw the devil. Basically, that's what it was. And he wasn't the same fighter after that. And he hasn't been the same fighter ever since he walked into those offices of the BBC. That's when he was going for that stuff for the £1 million deal. So there is something. Yeah, something wasn't right. And now AJ losing his mind as well. That when you get to the higher echelons of sport, the higher echelons, I don't know what happened, who he met when he was in America, what happened, but something's happened traumatic to Joshua, I think. For you, but just check this out. He went and got a Navy SEAL. A Navy SEAL because he was worried about getting knocked out, and he got knocked out.
That's not a good look.
And that is what I said to you in the preview to this. The warning signs. When a person comes from the UK to America, I'm ready to listen to the warning signs. I'm looking for red flags. I'm looking for body language. I thought Joshua, there was too much smiling going on, too much of this nicey stuff. And I didn't see a guy that was ready for war. Even when he was doing the interview with, what's his name? Raja Rahim. He was doing the interview and he was doing things and it just didn't look right. It didn't look right. Then he gave the belts away to his fight, to the opponent. He did not come across. This is your debut in America. You know how big this is? This is your debut in America. This is your opportunity to put pressure on Deontay Wilder. This is your opportunity to become that global star in the mecca of boxing. And you do this?
Yeah, I think that Razor Ruddock was better suited to fight Mike Tyson than Anthony was better suited to box with AJ. And like I said, Jarrell Miller got to be kicking himself in the pants.
Yeah.
Because of the missed opportunity.
But I said Joe Miller would have given him a hell of a fight. He would have given him a hell of problems as well. But people didn't see that. Ingram, ask.
Yeah, I think that Jarrell Miller would have given him a hell of a problem. I think Jarrell Miller, looking back now, that he would have beat him.
Yep, and they probably did. I said I don't think they wanted Jarrell Miller to fight Joshua. There was something there. More to it than the PEDs. There's something more to it than that, I think. But that's me. Ingram, ask Bashir why AJ would be asking Ron McCracken in the corner when what's Ruiz gonna come out and do.
Yeah, that's a sign of concussion. you actually what he's going to come out and do? He's going to come out and punch you in your face. He's going to come out and punch you in your face if you don't do something to defend yourself.
Oh, boy.
You know?
BG London says, Joshua's been seeing a sports psychologist plus the rumor of the panic attack. Something is wrong. The thing is, if Edge had been using a sports psychologist throughout, and I'm surprised he wasn't, because he's come from that school of thought. He's worked at the university. He's been training with Sheffield. So I thought a sports psychologist would have been something that would have been the norm anyway. But the Navy SEAL, that didn't sound right to me. That was what I had a problem with. Dave Allen says he got shook up in sparring. And then Chris Mason continues by saying, training in Miami and bringing in a Navy SEAL was all the warning signs we needed on top of all the flaws we pointed out 18 months ago.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The Navy SEAL was a strange one, says Michael C. And then Chris Mason comes back and says, pressure does funny things to you. Confidence may have been shattered from some other bad sparring experiences. Now, this is what I kept saying over and over and over and over and over again. When you leave from the UK to come to America, it's a whole different ball game. And I said, Andy Ruiz will know if he can win this fight in the first 30 seconds. He needs to jump on AJ because AJ's got all the pressure in the world on him. Jump on him. See if he really wants a fight. Because,
yeah,
I mean, you know, he's got a lot of money as well. What motivates AJ to keep going now? What's the motivation to keep him going?
I would think legacy, you know. I would think legacy.
Well, but you see, the thing is, People say AJ won a rematch. He was getting beaten up in there. It's not like he got hit with one shot and got knocked out like Oliver, like Lewis.
Eddie Hearn wants the rematch.
Eddie Hearn don't know boxing. Eddie Hearn knows how to promote, but he doesn't know how to protect his fighters. I wonder if Frank Warren would be running so quickly into a rematch with Ruiz. I wonder if Frank Warren would be saying the kind of things.
I'll tell you one thing. He got hit with a punch in that last sequence of punches, and it didn't look like he came out of it too good.
You see the sequence of punching, he fell through the ropes.
Yeah.
Out into the audience. It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. But that's when the fighter got to humble himself and say, I need help. I need help. This shouldn't happen to the heavyweight champion of the world. You know? And I don't disrespect any fighter that gets in that ring. Any fighter that laces up and gets in that ring, you can't disrespect it.
AJ says he still wants the Wilder fight. Really?
He still wants the Wilder fight.
Instead of the man keep his mouth shut, he talk about he wants the Wilder fight.
What's he trying to do? So what is he trying to do? Cash out? Because that's what that would be.
You still talking about Wilder? You just got your ass knocked out by Ruiz. You talk about Wilder?
No, he doesn't want to go to the Wilder fight.
No, you don't want the Wilder
fight. That would be the end of the line.
It would be the end of the line if he goes back against Ruiz and gets beat again.
Well, I'll take my chance with Ruiz before I mess with Wilder, because if he goes to Wilder, he's definitely going to get squashed out.
It'll be even quicker this time round.
He didn't show me anything in the ring. He didn't show me anything in the ring the other night that would make me believe that he could handle a Wilder.
These people are pushing for the rematch are the same people that push for a rematch for David Price. The same people, right? But when it all went wrong, they went and blamed David Price and said it was a hype job, right? These are the same people that were praising AJ all the time and ignoring his flaws. These people are irresponsible and not accountable, and they don't know boxing. There's one guy, I'm not saying his name is, right? He's talking about how AJ should take an immediate rematch. Well, that boded well for you because you got knocked out in your immediate rematch. You got knocked out. When you get knocked out the way he got knocked out, it wasn't one punch. It's not like, oh, he walked on and got caught with a shot. This guy got systematically beat up. Beat up. He was unable to judge distance. He was unable to judge distance. He fought the wrong fight against a guy who was a noted slugger. He tried to trade with a guy who had faster hands than him and shorter arms than him. He tried trading with instead of using his jab. He didn't have much boxing IQ in there. So what are you going to do in a rematch with the same trainer? It's like bang your head against the wall and expecting the wall to break. Oh, you know what? My head's bleeding. Well, guess what? That was a mistake. Let me go back and bang my head against the wall again. Maybe this time I get a different result.
Which is not likely.
It's not likely. You see, these people that are on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media, they have no clue because it's not their careers. It's not them. Why do you want to go back and have a rematch with a guy who just knocked you out and you showed you were technically flawed then? What are you going to do differently? You get tired in fights. You haven't got a good enough jab. And it's not like Andy Ruiz is not a bum. People are still disrespecting Andy Ruiz today because they lack boxing knowledge. Andy Ruiz has a very good amateur boxer. And he's a good pro boxer. They're not praising Andy Ruiz in the way he went about his business and dealing with AJ. But I told everyone how he was going to go about it. Andy Ruiz fought no differently to how he fought against Parker. The difference is Parker's more mobile than Joshua is. And Parker carries a better chin than Joshua does.
Right.
But you tell me, people, how has Joshua improved from the first of his fights in his career to now? He's got bigger, but has he got better? And if you're going to tell me he's got better, where are all these improvements? If a man is constantly getting knocked out in sparring, not constantly getting knocked out in sparring.
As I said to you before, if I'm knocking people out, there's no reason to get better. We'll go to the dance based on those knockouts. You know, and that's exactly what's going to happen in the Ruiz fight. We're going to knock him out, as I thought would happen. You know, despite Ruiz being the good fighter that he is, I felt that AJ was going to get behind his jab, move forward, and knock him out. That didn't happen.
Right. Joshua needs to stop the politically correct celebrity corporate champion stuff. It's probably making him mentally exhausted. I'm telling you now, I'm not asking, I'm telling you, half the people around Anthony Joshua are not boxing, know nothing about boxing. They know about PR, but they don't know about boxing. And most of these PR people, they take you away from boxing and they try and make you something that doesn't fit with boxing. They try and make you into trying to be prime ministers and talk like a prime minister. You're not a freaking prime minister. You're not a political figure. You're a boxer. There's only one guy that pulled it off. Great. And that's Muhammad Ali. And he went to jail for it. A lot of these people do, a lot of these people, I'm telling you off what I know. They don't know nothing much. They don't know very little about boxing. And if it's not, they don't know about boxing, they don't know how to engage with other people outside of boxing. They don't know how to engage. They'll know how to get you loads of followers on Twitter or on Facebook. Yeah. They'll know how to set you up to do interviews. Yeah. But they'll definitely leave you out there to dry, hung out to dry as well. These are not boxing people. And you watch these people who start most of them put their trust in these PR people. They start off, on the ground, talking to people and staying in touch. And as soon as these PR people get into them and the corporate sponsors start getting involved, that's the worst thing that can happen because they lose touch with their base reality. And then they come out of a boxing world and they go into a PR world. Say the right thing, do the right thing, be this, be that. It's got nothing to do with boxing. Nothing to do with boxing. You can have a bad day in football. You can have a bad day in rugby. You can have a bad day in tennis. You can have a bad day in cricket. If you have a bad day in boxing, it could be the end of your career. And that's the difference. That's the difference. There are very few people in PR that actually understand boxing to that point. And here we go. Typical of Ruben Guerrero to come and make a statement. PR makes them rich, though. Doing the job correctly makes them even richer.
That's funny. That's funny. Ruben said to make them richer.
You got to laugh, haven't you, Uncle?
Oh, man. Ruben is funny, though. Ruben's funny.
Check this out. Chris Mason says, doesn't hold a shot that scrambles the equilibrium. When Ruiz got hit, his legs were fine, his senses, and yet it was with his senses. This has been a long-term problem with AJ that we discussed from his amateur days and what we were told about him getting put over in sparring with alarming regularity.
Right.
Now, Ruben, the boxing expert, comes out and says, AJ is too hook happy. I don't know about that bit.
He's too what?
Too hook happy. He's been listening to a lot of Sky Sports. For me, AJ's problem is he doesn't know when to engage and when not to engage. He's got the same problem Amir Khan. Can't judge distance. Drops his hands in the line of fire. And he falls down the same way Amir Khan. You know when Amir Khan used to get knocked out? Amir Khan falls down the same way every time. And Joshua falls down exactly the same way when he got dropped by Klitschko, the way he got dropped by Ruiz, the same way. Leg up in the air. He dropped the same way. But Klitsch gave him with the right hand. Ruiz hit with the left hook. Fell the same way. Him and Khan fall the same way. And they fall because of the same thing. They don't know when to engage and when to disengage. And that's a boxing science and a boxing IQ. And I'm afraid, I think, I don't know, but can you teach boxing IQ to somebody who hasn't got IQ, Uncle? I don't know. Can you do it? You're the trainer. You would know.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. It boils down to desire. What does a person desire? If a person desires to grow, to learn, to embrace, then they can become a good boxer. But they've got to have the ingredient of desire. And without it, they're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. I'm the first to tell a person when they don't have it. A lot of boxers, wannabe boxers, don't want to hear that. But if I'm working with an individual, I think I have an obligation to say, hey, look, man, you should try something else. Maybe being a librarian or something, because boxing is not for you.
People say, Chris May said, Manny changed the way Vlad operated. That's a good point. But I will say this. Did Vlad earn the sort of money that AJ had? Did Vlad fight in front of 70, 80, 90,000 people? Did Vlad have the creature comforts at that time that AJ has now in so few fights? I don't think so. Uncle, can you look into this for me?
What is that? Say it again, because it's echoing. Say it again.
Vlad changed the way Manny changed the way Vlad operated. But Manny and Vlad were in a time, the money Joshua's making now in his career and has made in his career, I don't know if he'll care that much about legacy and have the hunger to fight. Look how much money he's made.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
A huge problem.
If the boxer allows it to be. There are some boxers who really want to have a place with legacy. And there are other boxers who don't care about nothing but the money.
And this thing about one shoe fits all, it doesn't work in boxing. It doesn't work, period. People say, if a guy gets beat and he's young, he can come back. No, not everybody is young that can come back. Some people, when they get beat, they can't come back. Mentally, emotionally, they can't come back. Oh, he'll come back. Yeah, he'll come back. Some guys, when they lose their own, they lose their invincibility, they lose their self-belief. The thing that kept them going is the fact they were unbeaten. That's what it is. And as soon as they lose the unbeaten tag, never the same fighter again. Look at Taylor. What's his name? Mildred Taylor. Mildred Taylor fought Julio Cesar Chavez. He was beating Julio Cesar Chavez. Got stopped with 2 seconds to go at the end of the fight. Never the same fighter after that fight.
No, never the same fighter.
So what? I don't know where this comes from. Oh, he'll come back. He can come back. You're saying that. You're not the one who just got knocked out. You're not the one who's been put in the back. You didn't just get knocked out at the York Hall Bethnal Green. You got knocked out.
I think that if Taylor had won that fight with Julio Cesar Chavez,
exactly,
would have made a difference.
Absolutely,
the beating would not have made the difference because he was the winner.
There you go.
But the fact remains is that he was a loser, and that prevented him from recuperating. He was never the same fighter after that.
And a lot of people don't take into consideration the pedestal that AJ was put on. The pedestal he was put on. He didn't belong on that pedestal, by the way. He did not belong on that pedestal. That was hype upon hype upon hype upon hype upon hype. They were comparing him to one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He would have beaten Lennox Lewis. He was the best heavyweight ever. He would have beaten Muhammad Ali. There was that sort of ridiculous talk that was going on. The greatest fighter ever, pound for pound.
I saw simple things. Like the other night, I watched AJ in the ring, how he was backing away from Ruiz and crossing
his legs. When he was crossing, when he was going around the ring. I saw that from round one. What the hell are you doing?
He was crossing. He kept continuously crossing his legs, and that's a sign of ineffective training technique. Those little things can get you in big trouble with a quick-handed guy like Ruiz. Because when Ruiz attacks, he attacks in an explosive fashion.
When you
crossing your legs can cause problems.
Yeah, but that does see to people who are AJ apologists. And I'm talking to you out there that thumbs down knowledge. You AJ apologists, you're part of the reason why your boy got knocked out because you did not address the flaws. You built this guy up to be like Hercules, the baddest man ever, because he's got big muscles. And your arrogance and believing your boy that he's got big muscles, he's got a big neck, and he does bodybuilding, he looks massive. And then you went and took the arrogance against Andy Ruiz, and you still got arrogance now. You're not saying Andy Ruiz is actually a better fighter than AJ. It won't come out your mouths. Take the immediate rematch. And your boy's been knocked out regularly in sparring. And he's now got knocked out in a fight. But he's just going to come back. Come back and do what? Do the same crap again? Unless he makes fundamental changes in his style, in his setup, whose trainer is. And I think he has to get rid of the setup he's got at the moment. If he doesn't do that, and he comes back and does the same thing again, because he's still going to have that lazy-ass jab, he's still not going to be able to distance and timing. If you want an example of what happens when you take immediate rematches and you're not ready, go and look at David Price versus Tony Thompson. All the experts were saying, it was a lucky punch. There's no lucky punch in boxing. That's the whole object of the sport, to render someone unconscious, to hit and not get hit. So he gets knocked out, and then they ask for an immediate rematch. And what happens? This time, he ends up getting knocked out again. There's some things you can't put muscles on a person's chin. There's some things so you have to find a way to get around that. And that way around that would be to keep your freaking hands up and have some defense. Move your head. No, you want to come with one arm down like this. One arm in the pocket and a one hand here, doing this. Open your whole side up. And you can't take a punch anyway, and you're boxing like this. You're looking to get knocked out.
Yeah, well, time will tell whether he can bounce back. In all likelihood, the Wolves are going to be outside of his front door when he does get back. Dubois, Joe Joyce.
He's due.
Dillian White.
Dubois. Here are the names. Dubois. Joyce. They're two guys I'm looking at now. Fundamentally flawed. Yeah, they punch hard. That's nice. But heavyweight boxing is not just about punching hard. There are other facets. I saw the last guy he fought, Dubois. He was in a shootout with a guy who I knew nothing about. An absolute shootout. Throwing punches and being turned around 360. That's not good. You're in a life and death shootout with a guy who's not even ranked in the top 10. A guy that you're meant to blow away in a couple of rounds. That doesn't bode well for the future. But people see that and go, that was an exciting fight. And I'm looking at it going, you're lucky, first of all, you won the fight. And secondly, you're going life and death. And then the Joe Joyce thing. Oh, Joe Joyce is great. Yes, he's got punching power. And if you stand directly in front of Joe Joyce, he will blow you away. If you stand in front of him. But if you give this man lateral movement, he doesn't move his head. He has no defense. And he comes forward chucking bombs. But his hands are slow. His feet are slow. And no matter what Adam Booth does for him.
How about Joe Joyce versus Michael Hunter?
I spoke to Michael Hunter about it. Now, according to Sam Jones, he feels that Joe Joyce's level's above. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either.
See, with the flaws are there. The flaws are there. I'm saying what they do well, but I'm telling you, or I'm saying to you, the audience, that if you put these guys, boxing is about, for me, management. It's getting your guy to fight other guys that match his strength, not his weakness. So
that's not one of Matchroom's talents.
well, Frank Warren signed him, innit? So Frank Warren's got him now. Joe Joyce, but people rate Joe Joyce highly.
Joe Joyce. I was talking about AJ's.
Okay. So
Frank Warren is moving Joe Joyce.
Yeah, he's moving Joe Joyce to fight Brian Jennings next. And according to Sam Jones, he says, I'm talking rubbish, that any version of Brian Jennings is getting knocked out by Joe Joyce. What do you think?
Yeah. Like I said, Brian Jennings is biting off a lot. Just got knocked out and he's getting into a fight with Joe Joyce. But I think that if Brian Jennings goes in there and his mind is made up to box, he could win that fight.
Yeah.
To go out there and display his boxing skills, he could win that fight. You know, he could win that. He could conceivably win that fight.
Okay, Ruben Guerrero comes in again. The boxing god Ruben Guerrero comes in and says, Jennings has not fought no one like Joyce before, but Jennings, of course, Vladimir Klitschko doesn't count, and Ortiz doesn't count, but Joyce is better than both of those guys, according to Ruben Guerrero.
I don't know if he's better than Ruiz. I think that Joe Joyce and Ruiz would be a great fight.
No, but Jennings has fought no one like Joyce before. That's what Ruben says, and I disagree.
If Jennings make up his mind he wants to box, he has to box to survive, and to survive those first 5-6 rounds. That's his best chance to drag the fight out, get it into the late rounds, and then try to come on. You know, that's what I would have him to do if I were the trainer. To drag those rounds out, to try to slip, slide, and stay to the side until the 7th, 8th round, and then start working my show to try to win the fight.
Ruben Guerrero. Ruben Guerrero's who says now, this is the same Ruben Guerrero that says Vladimir Klitschko is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Now it's turned around and says Vlad only throws 2 punches around.
Well, I think that the fighter's condition is the fighter's application in the ring is only going to mirror what the trainers are telling him to do. You know, so a lot of what a fighter does, they're doing it out of remote. They're doing it depending on who's the one that's in the corner teaching. You know, that's what depends on heavily.
Ruben saying now that Vlad is a good heavyweight, but low output. Joyce style is not good for Jennings. Like, this is the heavyweight expert here in Ruben Guerrero, who said that Joshua would walk through Ruiz.
Joshua would walk through Ruiz.
Yeah, that's what Ruben said. He walked through him. I said he ain't walking through no one.
I felt that he was gonna walk through him too. So he's not alone.
Well, he ain't walking. He weren't walking through no one. I ain't seen him walk for anybody. I ain't seen Joshua walk for anybody decent. He didn't walk for Parker.
I do things according to what's out there. You know, like Wilder made such a statement. I said, well, Joshua's going to make that.
But wait, hold on. Wait, hold on, Uncle. I mean, I can't believe you're saying this. Dominic Brazil walks forward in straight lines, doesn't move his head. He's got slow feet and slow hands, yeah? Before he goes to throw any punches, he drops his hands. And I said exactly what Wilder was going to do. He was going to use that left jab, pull the guard down, and slam that right hand straight for the middle. What did he do?
He just ran across the ring and threw a chair. He ran across the ring and threw a chair. And I think that Brazil is still looking for the guy that threw the chair. You know?
That's my point. I mean, so I just thought it was just illogical to think that Brazil was going to beat Wilder. The thing is, slow-ass Joshua was catching Wilder with jabs and right hands. The Joshua that fought Brazil box better than the Joshua that fought Ruiz, or the Joshua that fought Parker. I don't know what I don't know since the it may be since the Parker fight. There's been a change in Joshua's style. He had that weird performance against Parker. He had a weird performance against Takam, where the referee came and actually stopped Takam when he didn't need to be stopped. He didn't have a weird performance against Parker, then turned around and told us all that he was doing it because he was, being careful. Well, if he was being careful, why didn't he box that same carefulness against Ruiz?
Right.
Oh, my Lord. And here's another one who's going to get himself knocked out. That Adam Kanowski, Kanowski, or whatever his name is, he'll get knocked out as well. You can't go up against top heavyweights fighting with your face. Limited skills, got a good chin. And he's going to go in and fight Wilder. He's going to go in and fight Wilder with no chin, or with his head like in. I don't know where these people come from. Like, they never learn their lesson. These people, their fighters get knocked out, and they keep coming up the same garbage all the time. You need to be able to keep your hands up. You need to be able to move your head. You need to be adaptable. You need to make changes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Chris Mason says Joe Joyce is the most basic of them all out there being considered for world honors. He is. I'm not knocking Joe Joyce. It just is what it is out there. And it's only when these guys get beat that they turn around and say after, oh, yeah, you were right. But why answer me this question, Uncle? I can sit down here and I can tell you strategically what each fighter is going to do and how they're going to go about doing it, more or less, because fighters have patterns. But it's like cricket. When I break down a sportsman, and I'm breaking down before I go to work with them to give remedies and how we can improve them as a player and work with problems, what we do, we look at the person over a repeated pattern. So for me, I'll see them do something 10, 15 times, and I'll sit back and watch them and see if they're moving the feet the same way. If they've got any sort of like twitches, or they do things. If they're repeating something over and over and over again, I see it's ingrained in their system. I said, okay, right, I've seen you do this 15 times now. We need to now start addressing why are you doing that and why we need to make the changes. How are we going to make the changes? These trainers, like Dominic Brazil and Virgil Hunter, Brazil made 0 changes to his style. 0 changes. He came with that same old slow-ass style, hands coming forward, not keep putting the hands up, right? And then as soon as he goes to open up a shot or to throw a punch, he brings his hands down. That's where Wilder nails him.
Yep. Yeah, that's what he did. He made himself apparent for that right hand.
And the bookies are talking about Joshua rematch. Oh, God. And now we talk about, Ruben's talking about Adam Booth will make Joyce more what? More sudden. God.
You will make him what?
More sudden. Or probably make him, you can't, the guy is 32, 33 years old. He's not going to start moving like Muhammad Ali now. What you've got of Joe Joyce now is what you've got of Joe Joyce now, for the most part. Slow hands and slow feet. For the most part. And Adam Booth teaches one style. Jesus Christ. Uncle, talk to me, please. Help me, Uncle. Help me.
I'm gonna get out and go to the gym. I got boxers waiting for me inside the gym.
Okay.
I gotta get out of here, and I gotta go prepare these guys. They got local fights, Atlantic City fights and stuff, and they're dependent on me. I hate to let people down.
Okay.
Once I get my word. But I will say this, that Anthony Joshua needs help. He's going to need help more now than ever. If he's satisfied with the people that he has around him, then so be it. You know, you can't change anything that doesn't want change. But there was some major things going on in that ring the other night, and I don't know all of the story, but he needs help. You know, he needs help because that's the best that he could fight Ruiz. And I'm not taking nothing away from Ruiz, but Ruiz wasn't supposed to be in the same caliber of boxer that Anthony Joshua was supposed to have been. You know, we know different now, but if he fought that kind of fight, making the mistakes that he made, and he made a number of mistakes in there, then he needs to park it. Just put it in park and walk away. You know, that wasn't good.
Uncle, finally, do you have a message to Anthony Joshua if he's listening or his team are listening? Joel, jokes aside, seriously, have you got a message for Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, Anthony's got my number. If he needs my help, I'm always a listening ear. You know, I'm always a listening ear. But you have to be willing to be humble enough to listen. You have to be humble enough to want to make change. You have to be humble enough to want to advance yourself. There's no disrespect to the trainer that you have or the people that's around you. But this is like boxing is like any other business. It's got to be ran like a Fortune 500 company. And I tell that to boxers that got 5 fights. I tell them, you got to run your career like the Fortune 500 company from scratch. If A don't work, then you got to go to B. If B don't work, you got to go to C. You got to do what you got to do to propel yourself into the upper echelon of what you are doing. And you can't do that on friendship.
And
you can't do that because you got a relatives that's rooting for you. No. At some point, you got to go to the friend, the relatives, say, look, this is not working. I got to get somebody in here that's professional enough to lead me to the next level.
And why? And why should Anthony Joshua come to you and not the other named trainers?
Actually, he can do what he wants to do, you know. But I would tell him to dissect the person that he's going to choose, if he decides to choose, to dissect, to do some research on what they have done in boxing, what they have done inside the heavyweight division. Because training heavyweights is far different from training any other weight. You can't train heavyweights the way you train lightweights, welterweights, middleweights. You can't train them the same way. There's a whole different ball game. It's a unique ball game. So I would have him to do some discovery, to do some in-depth research on what and the person that he chooses to lead him, if he so decides to do that. But he can't say that, you know, my team is all right, my team is perfect. Little things I saw in that corner, just little tiny things that could make the difference in winning and losing. Those little things I won't speak about, because the game is to be sold and not told.
Would you be prepared to move? Would you be prepared to move to the UK to train Anthony Joshua, or would he have to come to America?
No, you know how I do. I stay in Europe anyway. You know, I go where the boxing goes. You know, I go where the boxing goes. I don't have a preference. I'm a global trainer.
I'm sure a lot of people in the UK would love to have you as their trainer and to have you to sit down and get knowledge from you, Uncle. Trust me.
You know, I view boxers as entities, but they gotta speak up for themselves. They gotta put their foot down with their lives and their careers. Their lives is on the line every time they step in the ring.
Yes.
And I can't understand the logic of some boxers when you just go along with this or that. You just accept it. No, you are the entity. You are the principal. You are the CEO of whoever you are. You are the CEO. You should be the one to say, you know what? I've got to make changes. You know what? I need this. I need that. But in doing so, in making those choices, you got to be willing to say, look, I'm going to listen. Look, I'm going to embrace what you teach because I don't have time to pull teeth. You know, I'm 68 years old. I don't have time to play no games with nobody. With nobody. I don't kiss up to nobody. Either you listen to me or you go about your business because I don't have time for that. Now I understand the old trainers that I grew up under. I understand their position now because I'm in their position now. Don't play no games. Either you want to listen and embrace what I'm teaching you, and I've got plenty to offer. I'm traveling constantly around the world, and I'm observing training techniques from all parts of the world. Russia, Ukraine, South Africa, United States, Sweden, France, Spain. I've been all over and I've observed. And I'm saying, my God, am I the only one that know what they're doing here? I'm looking at what's being taught in the world of boxing. And I'm not seeing the teachers that I grew up around. I'm not seeing that where I go at. I'm observing. And I'm observing the boxers. And I say, the boxers are all right with this here. Is it because they don't know or they don't care? That's the question that comes to mind. Is it because they don't know or they don't care? Or they think that this is enough to suffice me in this particular fight or the fights ahead of me? You know? So they have to choose. But at the same time, they have to choose to listen, to sit back and listen, to sit back and learn. Because they don't know it all. They don't know it all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know it all, but I know a hell of a lot more than what they know.
Do. Final question. We're going to leave it with the guru of boxing, Ruben Guerrero. He asked the question, would Bashir make AJ lose weight?
You know what? I'm not even concerned about a boxer's weight. I'm concerned about a boxer being able to perform at the weight that he's at, especially heavyweights. You know, I'm not concerned about boxing. I just want to be able to get the exercises that I want out of them, to be able to go the rounds that I want them to go, with the number of small partners that I would have them in it with. So weight is not an issue with me, because you see that Ruiz, you see his weight.
Yep.
That didn't seem to affect him any.
No, he didn't.
It didn't seem to affect him one bit. He kept on rolling. He kept on rolling. He kept on doing his thing. He was unaffected. So no, I'm not big on weight. If boxers come in at a certain weight, I think that boxers can move, you know, at a certain speed or a certain rhythm. If he's lighter or heavier, I think sometimes it's essential, but it's not one of those things that stands out in my mind that's really a necessity to pay attention to.
Okay. Uncle, message to, if Joshua's listening now, just 30 seconds, message to Anthony Joshua.
Listen to this interview. Listen to what we said here and ask yourself, in the privacy of your own mind, am I doing the right thing? Have I chosen the right people? Because as I've said to Ingram for the last 3 years, there are flaws. There are flaws in your teachings. There are flaws in the application of what you're being taught. And I know that. I'm observing that from the position of a 50-year trainer. I can see, you know, and I can show you in black and white when we meet, you know, but I think now is the proper time because, like I said, the floodgates of the wolves are coming out now. They're going to be outside your house waiting for you with lunch boxes saying, I'm next, you know?
Yeah,
lunch boxes. Right. Joe Joyce, Michael Hunter,
Dubois,
Alexander Dubois, Alexander Usyk, you know, Dillian White, Joseph Parker. They all circling their wagons outside your house and they wait because they all think now that I have the combination to what it takes to beat you. You know, I think that that Ruiz showed a certain mettle in that ring the other night. I think that Ruiz made it look easy, perhaps easier than what it was, and perhaps something was physically or mentally wrong with you the other night. We don't know. But I can tell you now that there are those who were watching and saying, I know what
to do
it takes
to beat you.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, to walk it, to beat him. You know, everybody wants to get better. If you got the car that's breaking down, if you got a car that's not performing, what you do? You change cars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you got a house or something wrong, you look to correct it. So why shouldn't that apply to you? Why shouldn't that apply to the individual?
Exactly.
And people don't look at their lives like that. You know, if you got a bad tooth in your mouth, you look to correct the tooth, you either remove the tooth. You don't keep it in there.
Well, according to some of these people in there, a lot of these people, they say one thing, but in their own, they're hypocrites. They say these things. Oh, do this. Go and take your rematch. But if it was them in their lives, they wouldn't do that. They think, oh, let me take some time to think about this. If they ran their business the way they try to run other people's businesses, they'd be bankrupt. They wouldn't have jobs. I'm telling you. Anyway, Uncle.
Yeah.
We'll catch up very soon because we've got lots to talk about still.
Oh man, we always gonna talk. We always gonna talk. You my man. You know.
Thank you. I appreciate
enjoy talking with you. I enjoy being on your show. This is a plus. You know. They need more in-depth discussions about boxing. You know, instead of all the ranting and raging and all the popular things that I hear on boxing shows. I listen to boxing shows all the time, and I hear about all the popular things, you know, that's cliches.
Of course.
You know, where people just like. But like I said, you know, there are a lot of fans who wasn't around in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. You know, a lot of the fans are young people who don't have a clue about boxing, who don't understand the logistics of boxing and what it takes to be a star in the sport. You know?
Yeah.
Vlad Serev is a work in progress. He's a guy that's got his foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. Vlad Serev wants to go.
He does.
But I'm telling you, he wants to go. He's got a foot on the gas and brake at the same time. But he also understands what I'm saying. I'm saying to him, your time is going to come. You know, just build your skills, build your reputation, learn what you're doing before you go out there. You know, I mean, I can move him out there now. There's some guys I believe in the top 20 that Vlad Serev would knock out right now. Maybe some guys in the top 10 that he would knock out right now. I've seen, you know, but I don't want to rush him. I can understand Joe Joyce's position. Joe Joyce is 33, and Joe Joyce don't have a lot of time to wait, so he's moving ahead, you know, and I respect what he's doing. Joe's a tough guy. He's a tough guy, and his chance is going to come too, you know. So in time we'll find out who's who. But Anthony, I'm telling you, you know, you got to get yourself together because those wolves are out there. You open the gates, they're going to be right there waiting for you. Because everybody says, now I know what I need to do to beat them. Now everybody thinks they see your vulnerabilities, and they're going to come after you. You know, they're going to come after you. And Anthony, you can't always fight in Great Britain. You've got to build yourself up. If you're going to continue in boxing, you got to build yourself up where you can fight anywhere. When you step in that ring, that's where you belong at. It doesn't make a difference where you at. Inside that ring, the ring is just a ring. You got to be able to fight.
Absolutely. Uncle, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much once again for talking to BWTM Online.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care, Uncle.
Hey, goodbye. Goodbye to everybody. I'll see you all again.
See you soon, Uncle. Thanks again.
Yep.
So there you have it with Uncle Bashir talking live and exclusive with BWTM Online. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching the show. Please rate, subscribe, leave the comments, but most importantly, share this video. Get it, retweet it, tweet it, send it to Anthony Joshua. You know, if you're close to Anthony Joshua and you're a Joshua fan, get it out there. Let people hear it. Let people see it. We're out of here. Thank you so much. Might be back a little later. You never know who else I may dig up tonight to talk to. See you later. Yeah, I think we might do some FIFA as well. See you later.